1831. We have a continued story each night, and my wife has charge of that, and she's going to give an introduction to it tonight, and it's called The Little Rascal. It may be about one of these little rascals sitting out here, because little rascals, you know, I went to Bible college, and some of the meanest guys in Bible college turned out to be the preachers, and the sweetest guys fell by the wayside. Isn't that crazy? It's just crazy. People that played tricks and practical jokes and all that kind of stuff, they turned out to serving the Lord and pastoring churches and all that business. And those that were so, so spiritual. Some people are so spiritual, they carry a Bible the size of an Encyclopedia Britannica, and they walk and they just ooze with spirituality. You better watch out. You better watch out. You may get trapped by one of them. Okay, and so, are you ready to tell us about the Little Rascal?
Yes, sir. Are you ready to sit down?
Give us an introduction. Yes, ma'am. Can I sit over here by the pastor?
You may.
Thank
Well, that depends on if he's have you.
Can I sit beside you?
Yes, sir.
The Little Rascal is a real person, was a real person. In fact, how many of you were born by 1992? Some of you were already born when okay, he lived in your lifetime. And this very special person started out, you wouldn't believe what a nasty rascal he was. He did stuff you would get a whipping for. You ever had a whipping in your life? Back here. Something back there, Mom and Dad.
Don't make him confess it publicly.
They just have to look at you like that and you behave. Okay. Well, it took more than that for me. My dad had to apply to the Board of Education to see the learning. The Little Rascal lived in Italy. This one. This one. This is my assistant. She doesn't get paid, but she's my assistant. All right. How many have ever been to the country of Italy? Oh, yes. All right. Hold both hands. One over here and one over there. This whole part right down to there is the country of Italy. This is called a boot jack. Now, I don't know how many have ever had on cowboy boots, but you can come in the house and they got a piece of metal and wood and you pull your boot like that and pull your boot off. How many know about that? 3 of you. Okay. He lived in this city right here. That's Messina, Italy. Where is it? Messina, Italy. All right. He was in bed sound asleep. Maybe I'll have you stand up again in a minute. He was sound asleep. His brother heard snoring. The bird was sound asleep. All of a sudden he heard a funny rumbling, and he thought, what is that? We don't have a train around. Oh, what is that? Pretty soon, the bird cage was shaking. The bird was flapping his wings on each side of the cage, and the kids in the house were beginning to wake up, and Mom and Daddy yelled, Terremoto, terremoto, get out, it's an earthquake. They all ran down the stairs, they ran into each other, they ran outside. Be careful, you fall in the crack. And they were standing there, and the ground was doing this, and the buildings started falling down. All around, the nice big buildings started falling down. How many boys and girls know that that just happened in Japan? Do you know that?
It happened in Georgia.
Yes, it happened in Georgia. It happened in lots of places in the United States. Terremoto means earthquake. What does terremoto mean?
Earthquake.
What is terra? The terra firma is the ground. And the quake, terremoto, means the motion in the ground. Where are we going to go? Our house is falling down. Oh, Mom, I'm scared. I know, honey, I'm scared too. We'll just go to Aunt Amelia's house. She lives out in the country. It'll be okay. But it wasn't okay. He thought, where's my brother? My brother Ricardo. My brother Ricardo's taking care of some of our family, but they're on the other side of the island. Oh, he was so distressed. He was only 6 years old, and he was really frightened. But they ran to Aunt Amelia's house only to find her house was falling down. Buildings were getting in their way, but they thought, oh, when we get there, she'll surely have some food. He thought, I'm so thirsty. My mouth is like cotton and there's dust in the air. I don't like this. What's going on anyway? They got to Aunt Amelia's house. She was outside. She was crying. Things were falling down. Things were ruined. There wasn't any food. There was no water. And all of a sudden he thought, but I see her lemon tree. And he went over and he picked a lemon off there and he peeled a little of it and he, ooh, that was so sour. It made it worse. He was even more thirsty. He couldn't stand it. He was just having a terrible time. Finally, after 3 days, there was a big boat that came from Syracuse, Italy, right down here, and came around the coast, and came up and got as many people as were still alive, and put them on the boat to take back to Syracuse. But Ricardo and 80,000 people died in that earthquake in the early 1900s. There have been many since that time, but that's what actually happened, where Tony Rossi was born and raised. When they got down to Syracuse, they had to live in little bunks, well, I guess you'd call them Quonset huts, a big metal building like this, a big round metal building with a flat bottom, and they divided things off into little apartments for each family because they finally had food and water. Our missionary friends in Japan have been helping take food and water and things that the military people have bought. They've gone to the commissaries, they've gone to what little bit of grocery stores there were, and taken truckload after truckload after truckload up to the place that the earthquake happened. But they're still having tremors. I don't know if it's interesting to you children or not, but you know, you take a great big island and you bring a big power from the ocean in on the top of that, and that moved 8 feet off of the axis of the U.S., of the world. It moved 8 feet. The whole land moved 8 feet. And they're still having tremors. And they're still taking food and water to the people. And there's just so many precious stories of how God has helped the military to help those people. And now, the Japanese people's ears are wide open to the gospel. Now's the time to strike while this fire is hot, while their hearts are open. All right. Well, wasn't very long, a few months, before they were able to go back to their home, Messina. And they lived in make-believe houses. They just had to make them up. And they went back to Messina. Now, you may want to remember those two places because tomorrow night you may get extra money for remembering the answers. Okay? Messina and Syracuse. When he got back, he saw something coming down the cobblestone streets. He'd never seen one of these before. Have you ever seen one of those? Have you ever seen a great big car? That was one of the early kinds of cars. Are you watching me? You are? Well, your eyes are over there. Keep your eyes right here because I'm a mean old mother. Mean old grandmother to 14 kids. You've seen what, honey?
I see that on the computer.
Oh, really? Well, I didn't grow up with one, so I never saw one. All right, this was the first time he ever saw a horseless carriage. So he started chasing it down the street, and everybody in the town said, that kid is so nuts. That Tony Rossi is a pill. He's a